skills unfold on the table, less expanse. Miniature warriors in a strategic dance. 15 millimeters of intricate design. A world of conflict in a scaled down line. Terrain crafted with precision and care. Armies maneuver under watchful glare. Dice roll to decide.
All right, guys, we're back. The brown paint had dried, and then I went over every single one of these with the ammo mud texture. I used different shades for different pieces, just for variety. I used the turned earth for the fields. I used the dark brown for the base. I probably could have just left it with the brown paint because they wound up being pretty much the same color, but the texture paste actually did put a little bit of a grit in there, but I could have sprinkled sand or something like that on there. But I did the turned earth, and then on these I used the medium or the light earth, and I went ahead and did the majority of them with the light earth because I felt like it had the best grit in it. It was the thickest, and it had the best coverage, and it has a good earthy tone to it. Okay, now on the river coastline, the water texture for the side of the table, I used a couple of shades of blue on this. You can't really see it, so I used like a dark blue. It was called the uniform blue over this entire thing, and then I close to the shoreline I used what's called ink, and it looked lighter in the bottle. It looked lighter on the when I painted it on. I did add a little bit of water to it because I wanted it to blend and not be like a stark change, but it blended so good that it looks exactly the same all the way across. So I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Yeah, you can. It's pretty much exactly the same. Depending on the angle that I take, I can kind of see a different shade of the blue, but it is so negligible that it wasn't even worth doing, really. And then I took that, once that dried, I went ahead and took that light earth and I did a one brush width using my brush here. I did one brush width all along the edge. Now what I'm planning on doing is putting grass on this coastline all the way down as well. I'm not going to completely cover it. I'm only going to do like 50% grass. Now these pieces out here, the ones that are not obviously plowed fields, they are pretty much going to be done exactly the same way. I think I'm going to do pretty much all of them with just some grass texture on them. And they can serve as woods, because I'll just put trees on them. Forest, I'll just put more trees on them. They can be any of the like rocky ground. They could be brush. They could be pretty much, you can use them as a template to occupy space on the table for like an open ground. So what I need to do now is, because they're all pretty much, oh yeah, and then I did these guys too. They're completely covered up. They look really good. But what I need to do now is, and I don't know if I'm going to be tearing up the wax paper or not, but I do need to put the grass on them. And I don't want to do that while they're laying flat on my table. What I want to do is put them in a box, sprinkle the grass on them, and then shake all the excess off and then lay them back out. And then what I could do is put them back on the wax paper to dry. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to peel them off and without tearing the wax paper. If I do, I'll probably wind up laying out a third layer of wax. Okay, so let's just give me a second to start peeling everything off and just see if I can do that. Oh yeah, and yeah, I totally forgot. I'll have to go through, checking the camera, I'll have to go through and cut off all these edges for every piece that I peel. Not tear anything, that's good. But you can see along the outer edge here, I'm going to have to trim all this off. So what I need to do now is just peel them all off and then get ready to trim them. Once I do that, I'll be right back and I'll let you know if I tore any of the paper or anything. Alright guys, what you can see is I went ahead and replaced the wax paper, mainly because I was peeling it up gently and being very cautious, but inevitably I did tear about 2 of them and there were some big holes. So I just gave up and tore them all out because it's a lot easier and a lot faster if you're not trying to be careful, if you just peel everything off. And then I took my knife and I trimmed all of the edges of all the terrain pieces. And now what I'm going to do is I put some water. As you can see, I put 4 milliliters of water in there. I didn't mean to. I just filled it up by eye. And then looking at the scale, it says 4 milliliters. I'm going to put Mod Podge in there. That's going to be way too much Mod Podge, right? That's going to make that 8 milliliters total because I want it to be 50-50. And that means I'm just going to have a huge amount of Mod Podge, which is not a bad thing because my 50-50 mix that I use on my miniatures is almost empty. So whatever I have left over, I could probably pour into this. Let's experiment. I don't know, I just feel like I'll be working with way too much. I'm going to pour some of this out. Okay, I poured about half of it out. Now it's got 2 milliliters, approximately. We're going to put Mod Podge in here. I'm going to kind of eyeball it. I want the Mod Podge to be extremely thin. Yeah, it's a little bit over 4. Let me grab one of my applicator brushes. Get in there and stir it up because the Mod Podge soaked or stank to the bottom. Now it looks and smells like milk. I mean, it doesn't smell like milk. I mean, it looks like milk. It smells like Mod Podge. Okay, so I've got a cardboard box here. I'm going to apply glue to the terrain pieces. I'm going to put the terrain piece in the box. I'm going to sprinkle this Woodland Scenic 2mm medium green onto it. I thought about using a couple of different shades of green to kind of give it a little bit of variation, but I don't think I need to do that. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. We're just going to go with medium green. Now, because this piece is longer than any box that I've got, I'm going to do it in chunks. I'm going to do it one little piece at a time. And again, the Mod Podge is not meant to cover 100% of the terrain piece. I just want to put a little bit of variety. Okay, I need to set this on something. That won't hurt it. Okay. A little bit of a shaky shake. Now, normally what I do is I leave grass and glue on the figure for about 30 minutes before I start shaking things off. But in this case, I'm not going to really get that much time to do that unless I do little pieces at a time. Let's see if I can do both ends. They're not going to be connected, so it's not like it's a problem. And I dab it on. I forget what kind of brush this is called, but it's not a normal brush. It has extremely stiff bristles and a flat bottom. Try to shake this off, this end. Doesn't have to be great, just a little bit. Just so I can kind of get this out of the way. Because I want to use the big box for the majority of the terrain. Now I don't know if everything's going to fit again, so I might have to do a little Tetris work on this. to get it to work. But we'll try. We'll try. Now on this, I was going to put the majority of the glue. Okay, this glue is like way too thin, probably. Majority on the outside. And then just a little on the inside. Oh, that Mod Podge water mix might be a little bit too thin. Maybe I'll drop a little bit more Mod Podge in there to thicken it up. So 50-50 might have been too thin. So let's go 2-to-1. 2/3. Mod Podge, 1/3 water. Okay, I brought this lake piece out because I was wanting to put a little grass on a little island there. So still quite a bit watery. So what I'll do is I'll just use it sparingly. Now, with one shake, it doesn't knock off all of the grass. Once I set these out and I let them dry for the full amount, I will go in later with a brush and brush off all the excess. Okay, it's not as runny. That's good. And again, I'm doing the majority on the outside, a little bit on the inside. Just to give it a little bit of a green. Now, I know I'm going to go through probably this whole canister with this terrain because I'm only using the same color. But every little bit of grass that I shake off into this box, I'll be able to put back in the bottle to extend the life. Plus, in the bottle, there's a few little stones. So as I shake them out, they fall out as well as the grass. I was hoping to work with like 3 boxes, doing like a rotation, do one box, then do the other box, then the other box, then shake this out and do another piece, then shake it out, do a piece. But because of that river piece, there's a slight delay. Yeah. Okay, let's see if I can do the center. Yeah. Shake that out. Okay, that's kind of big. I'm not going to be able to do that whole thing in one pass. I can see that. Okay. Okay, well, at least right now I've got 2 boxes that I can work out of. And I'll just do all the river out of this one piece, one box. I'm gonna let these dry before I shake them out. And then I'm going to do another piece here. Just grab one of these big ones. Yeah, fit. Okay, guys, well, you get the general idea of what I'm doing. So let me go ahead and do all the pieces And then I'll be back when I got them all shaken out. All right, I'll see you in just a minute.